What's going on, guys? Get a lot of questions about bonding. If you want to operate a well in Texas, you have to have financial bonding, financial assurance with the Texas Railroad Commission in order to operate a well. You may be asking, what is a bond and why do I need it? Put simply, if something should happen to you or your company, it is money the state holds on to be able to plug the wells. You hear all over the country that these orphan wells, they can't plug them, the states can't afford to plug them. Well, in Texas, they actually have a program where they take your money if something happens, and they have that money to plug the wells. They plug tons of wells every year using this bond money, and that's what it is for. Now, there are a couple different ways to go about this, but let's dive into the actual Railroad Commission site, and I will show you step by step what's going on with the bond and how to get one. So first step, pull up a search browser, Google, Bing, whatever you want, DuckDuckGo, they all pull up. But you want to search Texas RRC bonding, and that should pull up the bonding requirements page. And you will come to Texas RRC Summary of Requirements and Responsibilities. Go on and click on it. And this is a little bit of everything, as you can see on their site. But what you want to look at for bonding is you come down to financial assurances. And option 1 is $2 a foot. And that is like if you've got a 5,000 foot well, you put $2,000 per foot. So you'd give them 10 grand for that, which if you've only got one well, that may be a better option. I would go with a bonding company because it would save you money long term. And only a couple wells in, you are going to have a lot of cash just sitting idle. One thing about it with the 25,000 and 50,000, you can have it in an account, in your bank account, drawing interest, and the bank then sends a letter of credit basically of that account, whether it be in a CD, whatever. So it's at least making you some money. But if you send in $2 a foot to the state, that money's gone, and you just may or may not get it back for a while. So what we need to look at is this one right here. This will be a vast majority of you guys if you're just starting out. If it's under 10 wells, it's 25 grand. You need a $25,000 bond for this, and it'll cover up to 10 wells. Typically, you can find a bonding company if you go to a search and search for Railroad Commission, Texas Railroad Commission oil surety bond. A lot will pop up. A $25,000 bond, depending on your credit, will be anywhere from $500 to $1,500. It's a once a year fee. You have to go through the process, file it, they check everything, but typically you're looking at $500 to $1,500 a year. Or like I was just talking about earlier, you could take 25 grand, stick it in an account, separate account, and set it up so you get a bank line of credit that then is certified and sent to the State Railroad Commission. That is an option. If you're just getting started, 25 grand should be good enough, but you can always get a bigger bond. So don't spring for a $50,000 bond if you've only got 4 wells, if that makes sense. Because when you're spreading out, say you're spending $1,000 a year on this bond. With 10 wells, that's $100 per well you're spending. So 20 cents a day or something like that. But on the flip side, if you go out and get a $50,000 bond and you've only got 10 wells, well then your fee is probably $2,000 to $3,000, and you're actually paying considerably more when you really don't need it. It's kind of like having too big of a truck. You've got too much truck, you don't need that big of a truck. You're just burning money for no reason. So know where you're at. If you've got 5 wells, or if you've got 10 or less wells, a $25,000 bond is good. Now, the only exception, if you plan on getting more than 10 wells, the last thing you want to do is have a really good looking deal and then you can't pick them up yet because you don't have enough space on your bond. And I've seen that happen. But okay, so next we have for 11 to 99 wells is of course 50,000. It's the same song and dance. You can find a bonding company, typically 2,500, 3,500 bucks at most a year for that bond. It's renewed every year. One thing I will tell you, bonding companies, a lot of them also write bonds for the auto industry and other sectors such as that. So the springtime, they're actually really busy and it takes longer to get a bond. So when you're going to get a bond, understand, depending on the time of the year for them, it can take even longer because they're swamped. It's like an accountant at tax time. They get swamped during certain times of the year for whatever reason. I've found that out in the past. It's like, okay, we keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and come to find out, it's the auto industry, the dealerships, their bonds. It's their time that they renew, so it goes haywire. But that's something also to think about. And then 100 wells or more, this is where it gets really tricky, and this is where you really need to look at speaking with an attorney and discussing potentially just setting up a new operating LLC. Because when you get to over 100 wells, a bonding company will want at least 100 grand deposit just to sit there. You don't make interest on that, anything. You send them that money, they sit on that money. Then you pay a fee on top of it. So, in my opinion, and I am not a tax planner, I am not an attorney, I am not an expert any means. Discuss this with them, but I believe it is cheaper just to go out and get another $50,000 bond with a new LLC to operate those other wells, because it is a pain and you have to put a lot of cash on the side. So when you get up to 250, look at just opening up a new one here. But this is really what it is. I hope this kind of helps you guys out. Please like, subscribe, check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/Oil Mutt, twitter.com/Oil Mutt, instagram.com/Oil Mutt. Of course, if you're watching here, you're at my channel. But I appreciate you guys, and hope this helps.